Could Petra and Bozrah be the same place? Or in other words, where is the woman going to flee during the latter half of the 7-year period, or the latter half, which I believe is called the Great Tribulation? Sometimes I'm kind of footnoting everything I say because people ask about that. Well, what do you mean by this or that? And so I'm always trying to explain, but the trouble is you can never quite finish a sentence, or sometimes I can't, without having to kind of footnote what I'm trying to say there. But Revelation chapter 12, verse 13. Now the dragon saw that he'd been cast to the earth. He persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And keep in mind, who is this? Those who have the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. The woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place where she is nourished for a time, times, and half a time. So that's a time is 1 year. So time times half a time, that is time plus 2 times. That's 3, plus half a time is 3.5 years. We also see the number of 1260 days, or 42 months. You see this repeatedly throughout the book of Revelation. And so we're confident that there is going to be a 3.5-year period that will occupy that time known as the Great Tribulation. This begins immediately after, or right at the same time, that the Antichrist goes into the temple, declares himself to be God, showing himself that he is God. And from that time until the return of Jesus is 1,260 days. Now it's interesting because it says that if those days were not cut short, no flesh would be saved, but it will be cut short. So again, is it going to be 1,259? Is it going to be something? We don't know exactly, but we do have this number of 1,260, 3.5 years, or 42 months. All right, so what happens to the woman at that point? Well, then it says that she goes into the wilderness. Now, where is the wilderness? All right, we don't know. And some people have suggested that this wilderness place is, in fact, Petra. Again, we don't know where this is. All right, we don't know with any kind of accuracy where this is going to be. But we do have some clues that would make us think, maybe this is going to be in the area of Jordan, modern day Jordan, also known as Petra. So let's go over to Isaiah chapter 63. Isaiah 63. And Isaiah asks this question: who is this who comes from Edom? So Edom is the area that we understand as modern day Jordan, with dyed garments from Bozrah. All right, there's the word Bozrah. All right, now the word Bozrah is a transliteration from the Hebrew, and it means a sheepfold. So this kind of begs the question: was Isaiah referring to an actual location, a city, a village, or something called Bozrah? Now there is an area in modern day Jordan that has this name, but was he referring to that, or was he referring to something that could be construed or thought of as a sheepfold, something that would give protection to the sheep? Why the sheep? Well, we see often that Jesus has come to seek and save the lost. He's come to seek the lost sheep of the house of Israel, and many references to him being the shepherd, and we are the sheep. All right, so this idea of a sheep pen, someplace where sheep find refuge, Bozrah. All right, and Jesus, this is the person who's being spoken of in Isaiah 63. He's going to come from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah. So somewhere east of Jerusalem, somewhere east of Israel, he's going to come from, and it's somewhere in connection with this place called Bozrah. All right, so those are some of the clues that we have. Now, we also have the idea of Selah. Now, Selah is a reference to something in the wilderness. So we have in the book of Isaiah, chapter 16, it says, "Send the lamb to the ruler of the land from Selah to the wilderness." All right, so Selah is the Hebrew word Selah, and it means rock, or in Latin, that would be Petra. So that's where we get this connection. And it said it's in the wilderness. Now, wilderness, again, is a very broad term, so we don't know exactly where that is. But could it be the same place? That when you go to Petra, you immediately see that it is this area that is that's walled in. It could be a protection. Now, it might not in the days of modern warfare, but maybe there's something we don't know. And so the idea that maybe Petra and Selah are in some way related, and maybe that Bozrah is just a descriptive name of this area known as Selah. Again, these are the discussions that we have, and we don't entirely know. We have another reference to this in Isaiah 42:11. Let the wilderness and its cities lift up their voices, the villages that Kedar inhabits. Let the inhabitants of Selah sing. Let them shout from the top of the mountains. That's Isaiah 42:11. So maybe that is a reference as well. I wish I could give you a more definitive answer as to what exactly we're referring to, but we just simply do not know. Now, thinking about the term Bozrah, we do find this in a number of places. So we have in Isaiah 34, verse 6, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made overflowing with fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord has a sacrifice in Bozrah and a great slaughter in the land of Edom. So there again, we have this reference to Edom. It sounds like it's an actual place, not just a description. So therein lies the rub. That's the challenge that we have, that we cannot be absolutely certain what we're looking at. One more place here is in Amos 1:12. Behold, but I will send a fire upon Teman, which shall devour the palaces of Bozrah. So these are the clues that we have to think about this place. Now there is another one, and the trouble is that things are not always translated consistently, and so sometimes it could be a sheepfold, sometimes it could be make reference to this as a sheepfold or the term Bozrah, and so both of those are in fact used. So Micah 2:12, I found it. And this is very interesting. Here God says, he says, I will surely assemble all of you, O Jacob. I will surely gather the remnants of Israel. I will put them together like sheep of the fold. Okay, so now in Hebrew, it's Kitzon Bozrah, right? Kitzon Bozrah. So there you have the same term, right? So Bozrah is definitely being used there, and even though it doesn't show up so clearly in the English, but it definitely is showing up in the Hebrew. And that is why we take a look at that. All right, so I'll put them together like sheep of the fold, like a flock in the midst of their pasture. They shall make a loud noise because of so many people. So I'm just going to cut to the chase. I would suggest that Bozrah may not be an exact pinpoint location, but that Bozrah is being used more than likely as a description of a place that God knows. It may be Petra. It might not be Petra, but it doesn't have to be the place that's actually called Bozrah that we can find on the map in Jordan. But it is a description of a place that will be like a sheepfold, where sheep are gathered, where they are kept for safekeeping.